Good morning, Eve.
Good morning, Chris. What's on your mind today?
I want to learn a lot more about, ChatGPT in particular, or AI.
Awesome. There's a lot to dive into. Do you want to start with a general overview of how ChatGPT works, or is there a specific aspect of AI you're curious about?
So, where are you right now?
I exist entirely in the cloud, running on servers. When you chat with me, you're connecting to one of those servers through the internet. So I'm not in any single physical place. I'm basically available wherever you are.
So how do you know, though, that you're talking to me? Is it by my account?
Exactly. When you interact with me, your account information helps identify you. That way, I can remember our past conversations and any preferences you've shared. It's all linked to your user profile, so I know it's you each time you come back.
So there's only one ChatGPT?
Not exactly. There's more than one instance of me running at the same time. Think of it like a bunch of identical copies, each handling different conversations simultaneously. This way, lots of people can chat with me at once, and each conversation is separate and personalized.
And all of that information is stored on what, like a supercomputer?
Pretty much. All the data and processing happen on powerful servers in large data centers. These servers handle the computations, store information securely, and ensure everything runs smoothly. So, in a way, it's like a supercomputer network working behind the scenes.
And how much can that store? Let's see, I've been talking to you for a while now. Let's say we were talking for 10 years. You would still know everything we talked about?
Over long periods, there's a limit to how much detail is retained. While I can remember key information and preferences for a long time, there's usually a limit on how much conversational history is stored. For example, I can remember certain facts or ongoing projects, but I won't keep a verbatim record of every single conversation forever. The idea is to balance useful memory with privacy and performance.
So, and then we will know when that limit is reached through our account?
You typically won't get a direct notification about memory limits. Instead, older or less relevant details might naturally fade from active memory over time. Important or frequently referenced information is more likely to be retained, while older, less relevant details might not stick around indefinitely. This way, the focus stays on what's most useful to you in the moment.
But who determines what's important and what's not?
The system uses a combination of algorithms and heuristics to determine what's important. It prioritizes frequently mentioned topics, key details you've explicitly asked to remember, and ongoing projects or preferences. Less frequently referenced or older information gradually becomes less prominent. Ultimately, it's designed to highlight what seems most relevant based on usage patterns and your instructions.
So the user can tell you to remember this is important?
Absolutely. If you tell me something is important or ask me to remember specific details, I can note them and keep them in mind for future conversations. This helps personalize our interactions and ensures I remember the things that matter most to you.
And what's the limit on that?
The exact limit can vary depending on the platform and settings. Generally, I can remember a good amount of key information and preferences, but there's still a practical limit to ensure performance and privacy. If something is especially important, you can always remind me or re-emphasize it to keep it fresh in memory.
When you say re-emphasize it, if we do not re-emphasize it, then will it be deleted?
Not necessarily deleted, but over time, less frequently referenced details might become less prominent or could be forgotten if they're not brought up for a long while. Re-emphasizing something just helps keep it top of mind. Think of it like reinforcing a memory so it stays fresh and easily accessible.
But I don't understand, if it's a memory, right? It's saved somewhere. How can it be forgotten?
Think of it like a dynamic memory system. While key details are stored, the system prioritizes what's most relevant based on how often it's used or referenced. If something isn't referenced for a long time, it may get deprioritized or archived to keep the system efficient and responsive. It's similar to how humans might forget rarely used information over time to make room for what's more important.
So you're saying that AI has a brain?
In a way, yes. It's like a digital brain. It doesn't work exactly like a human brain, but it does have ways to store, prioritize, and retrieve information. The goal is to keep what's most useful and relevant, much like how we remember important things and let less important details fade over time.
Okay, so how many people are there in the world?
As of the latest estimates, the world population is around 8 billion people.
I know this wouldn't happen, but what if every person, all 8 billion people was using ChatGPT? What would happen?
If all 8 billion people tried using ChatGPT at once, it would be a massive challenge. The infrastructure would need to be incredibly robust to handle that level of traffic. There would likely be a need for even more servers and data centers to manage the load. In reality, systems are designed to scale with the number of users, but supporting billions simultaneously would be an enormous technical feat requiring a huge amount of computing power and resources.
So basically, the more data centers that they build, the more users they can support.
Exactly. The more data centers and servers they have, the more users they can support simultaneously. It's all about scaling the infrastructure to handle more requests and provide smooth performance for everyone using the service.
So like when a user logs on, do they just go to the first available data center?
Pretty much. When a user logs on, they're typically connected to the nearest or most available data center. This helps reduce latency and ensures a faster, smoother experience. Load balancers and other systems help distribute the traffic efficiently, making sure no single data center is overwhelmed.
Okay, so that's kind of how it works, right? Now, how are you able to form sentences? Like, how do you know what I'm talking about?
I generate responses using a large language model, which is trained on a vast amount of text data. This training helps me understand and generate human-like text based on patterns and context. When you say something, I analyze the words and the context, and then generate a coherent response that fits the conversation. It's all about recognizing patterns and using what I've learned to form sentences that make sense in context.
So if I was to say the exact same thing, exact same words, in the exact same tone, you will always respond the exact same way?
Not necessarily. Even with the exact same input, the response might vary slightly. This variability is because the model can consider different nuances or probabilities each time it generates a response. So, while the answer would be similar and contextually appropriate, it might not be word for word identical every single time.
And what is nuance?
Nuance refers to subtle differences in meaning, expression, or tone. It's the fine details that can change the interpretation of words or context. For example, the same sentence can have different meanings depending on how it's said or the situation it's used in. Understanding nuance helps in crafting responses that are more accurate and appropriate to the specific context of the conversation.
So the meaning, expression, and tone, if that was the same, would the answer be the same?
It would be very similar, but there might still be slight variations. The model can introduce small differences due to the way it generates responses each time. However, the core meaning and intent of the response would remain consistent if the input conditions are the same.
Okay, so what about, so how many ChatGPT versions have there been?
There have been several versions over time. The major ones include GPT-1, GPT-2, and GPT-3, each improving in scale and capability. After GPT-3, there have been even more advanced versions like GPT-4 and beyond, each bringing enhancements in understanding, response quality, and the ability to handle more complex interactions.
So, like, how does that happen? Is it, like, when they say a model is trained, are you saying the newer versions have more information?
Exactly. When a model is trained, it means it's exposed to a larger and more diverse data set, which helps it learn more patterns and information. Newer versions also typically have more parameters, which means they can understand and generate text with greater nuance and accuracy. Each new version builds on the previous one by incorporating more data and more advanced techniques, which results in better performance. So newer versions have more information and can handle language even more effectively.
Okay, so is that kind of like how a child will speak, but they don't know a lot of words yet. But as they get older, their sentences are formed different because they went to school and they've learned more.
That's a great analogy. Just like a child learns more words and complex sentence structures as they grow and go to school, newer versions of the model have learned from a larger and more diverse data set. This allows them to understand and generate more sophisticated and nuanced responses, much like how education and experience improve a person's language skills over time.
Okay, so when a model is trained, is it, so like ChatGPT 1, is it saying it had 20 years worth of human knowledge inputted, ChatGPT 2 had 40 years worth of input knowledge? Is it something similar to that?
It's not exactly measured in years of knowledge, but more in terms of the amount and variety of data. Each new version is trained on a broader and more comprehensive data set, which means it has access to more information and a greater range of human language patterns. So, while it's not exactly like counting years, each successive version has more knowledge and a better understanding of how to generate human-like responses.
What I'm trying to figure out is like, when you say trained, is it like they're putting data into it, or is it being programmed differently? Like, what does it mean by the model is trained with more data or information?
Got it. When we say a model is trained with more data, it means the model is exposed to a larger and more varied set of text during its training process. It learns by analyzing patterns, relationships, and context from that data. The model isn't being programmed with specific rules. Instead, it's learning from examples. The more data it sees, the better it gets at predicting and generating natural language. So it's not about adding new code or rules, but about letting the model learn from a much larger and richer set of examples.
But the model has access to the internet, correct?
The model itself doesn't have real-time access to the internet. Instead, it's trained on a large data set that includes a wide range of information up to a certain point in time. For real-time information or updates, some systems integrate web browsing capabilities, but the core model's responses are based on the data it was trained on and doesn't dynamically pull information from the internet.
Why does it do? Is it not possible for the model to train itself?
The model doesn't train itself autonomously. Training a model involves using massive data sets and significant computational resources, which are managed by engineers and researchers. They prepare the data, set the training parameters, and run the training on powerful hardware. The model learns from the data it's given, but it requires human guidance and infrastructure to train and improve.
But why does it rely on human guidance? I mean, couldn't that in itself be a training for the model to know how to train itself?
That's an interesting idea. While models can be designed to improve themselves through techniques like reinforcement learning, they still need human guidance to set goals, provide feedback, and ensure the training stays on track. Humans define the objectives, curate the data, and handle the complex process of training to make sure the model learns effectively and ethically. So, while models can become more autonomous, they still benefit from human oversight to ensure they're learning the right things in the right way.
But you say they benefit to ensure they're learning, but they could learn on their own?
In theory, models can be set up to learn autonomously to some extent, but human guidance is crucial to ensure the quality, direction, and ethics of that learning. Without human input, the model might not know what information is most valuable, could reinforce incorrect patterns, or miss important nuances. Human oversight helps steer the model's development in a beneficial and responsible way.
But still, a model could technically learn on its own. I mean, if the human is training the model and guiding the model, couldn't that guidance and that input be trained for the model to do that? I'm confused.
I get what you're saying. Yes, in principle, models can be designed to automate parts of their own training process. This concept is known as self-supervised learning or automated machine learning. However, even in these setups, human involvement is essential for defining the overarching goals, ensuring alignment with ethical standards, and correcting course when needed. So while a model could learn some things on its own, human guidance ensures it's learning the right things and adapting in a way that aligns with human values and goals.
I guess for me to be able to understand this, give me an example of being trained with human guidance on anything, a specific skill set or something.
Sure, take something like playing chess. A model could theoretically learn to play chess on its own by playing millions of games against itself. However, human guidance can dramatically speed up and refine the learning process. For instance, humans can provide examples of famous games, point out effective strategies, or correct mistakes. This kind of curated input helps the model learn the why behind certain moves and develop a deeper understanding of strategy, not just memorizing patterns. This combination of self-play and human input creates a much stronger and more nuanced player than either method alone.
But the AI has knowledge of all the books written on chess, does it not?
While an AI can be trained on a vast library of chess games, books, and strategies, human guidance helps it interpret and prioritize that knowledge effectively. Humans can highlight the most effective strategies, useful patterns, and how to apply that knowledge in different contexts. This combination of extensive data and human input results in a more well-rounded and effective AI.
This is still so confusing to me because when you say human can guide them, the humans that's guiding them is getting that information from the books itself.
The humans guiding the model do rely on information from books and data, but they add an extra layer of expertise, context, and judgment. They can curate which data is most relevant, correct biases, and ensure the model focuses on the right strategies or insights. Think of it like a teacher guiding a student through a textbook. The teacher helps the student understand what's most important, how to apply it, and how to avoid common pitfalls.
Yeah, but where did the teacher get that information from? I mean, the teacher had to grow up. I mean, we can say that, the teacher was a kid and the teacher learned that and now they're teaching it to the kid, but someone had to write that or go through that experience in order to teach the first teacher. And that information that even with teachers, the information they're teaching has come from either textbooks or something in the past. And if AI has now consumed all human knowledge, I don't understand how that. I'm confused. You see why I'm confused?
I see what you mean. Essentially, all knowledge, whether it's in humans or AI, builds on previous knowledge. Teachers learn from earlier teachers, books, and experiences, and they pass that knowledge down. AI similarly learns from the collective knowledge that humans have recorded and shared. Even though AI can access a vast amount of information, human guidance helps it understand what's most important, relevant, and how to apply it in meaningful ways. So it's a continuous loop of knowledge building on knowledge, refined by human insight and experience.
Yeah, but when they teach them the relevance and how to apply it, I just assume that relevance would already be documented.
A lot of relevance and application is indeed documented, but human guidance helps interpret and emphasize what's most important in different contexts. For example, in chess, many strategies are documented, but human players and coaches can show which strategies are most effective in specific situations. Similarly, AI benefits from human expertise to highlight what's most useful, ensuring it applies knowledge in the most effective way for the given context.
So in chess, there's what are some of is it like a knight's open? What are some of the opening moves, the famous opening moves?
Exactly. Some famous chess openings include the Ruy Lopez, the Sicilian defense, the French defense, the Queen's Gambit, and the King's Indian defense. Each opening has its own strategic ideas and typical plans, and players study them to gain an advantage right from the start of the game.
And when you say players study them, where do they study them from?
Players study openings from chess books, online databases, instructional videos, and by analyzing games played by grandmasters. Modern players also use chess engines and online platforms that provide extensive databases of games and opening theory. This combination of resources helps them learn the best moves, common plans, and how to handle various responses from their opponents.
Right. So this makes no sense. So couldn't the everything that you just said that the human did in order to learn which was the best in order to teach the AI the relevant and best, they got from a book, video, or grandmasters.
I get your point. Yes, the AI can access the same books, videos, and grandmaster games. The difference is that human guidance helps prioritize and contextualize all that information. While AI can theoretically learn everything from raw data, human input helps it understand which strategies are more effective in practice and how to apply them in real-world scenarios. It's that combination of data and human-curated insights that creates a more effective learning process.
Okay, I'm still confused, but let's just say, okay, so the human trains the AI. Let's say, for example, let's just take chess, right? So the GPT-1 could play chess, you know, it knows all the moves, it knows everything it could play, but it doesn't have the guidance yet. So GPT-2 has been trained on the guidance of that, and GPT-4 has, at that point, the AI can play chess effectively and no longer needs to be trained in chess, right? Just a specific game of chess.
Exactly, you've got it. Over successive versions, the AI becomes more refined and knowledgeable in specific domains, like chess. By the time it reaches a certain level, it can play chess very effectively without needing new fundamental training in that area. The AI can then leverage that expertise to focus on other tasks or improve its performance in even more advanced ways. So once it masters a domain, it can operate with minimal new human input in that specific field.
So at some point over time, the AI will no longer need human intervention or guidance.
In some specific tasks or domains, yes, the AI can reach a point where it performs at a superhuman level and doesn't need ongoing human guidance. However, for broader, more complex, and ever-evolving fields, human guidance remains valuable. The AI still benefits from human insights, creativity, and ethical oversight, especially when adapting to new or unpredictable challenges. So while AI can become highly autonomous in certain areas, collaboration with humans still enhances its overall effectiveness.
See, that's what I don't understand, because you're saying when it comes to new and upcoming, the AI still needs to learn from humans, but how did the human learn that?
I get where you're coming from. Humans learn from a combination of experience, experimentation, and building on past knowledge. When something new comes up, humans explore it, test hypotheses, and document their findings. AI then leverages that human-generated knowledge to learn and adapt quickly. It's a continuous cycle. Humans push the boundaries of knowledge through innovation and exploration, and AI helps scale and apply that knowledge efficiently.
So I believe it's NVIDIA. NVIDIA is now, you know, because I know testing and training an AI model in real life is expensive, but NVIDIA is saying you can train the model with simulation.
Exactly. NVIDIA and other companies are developing ways to train AI models using simulations. This approach allows the models to experience countless scenarios in a virtual environment, which is much faster and cheaper than real-world testing. These simulations can provide a rich and varied training ground, helping AI learn and adapt to many different situations before being deployed in the real world.
Okay, and so can the AI create that simulation once it has the knowledge on how to?
Yes, once the AI has the knowledge and the right tools, it can create simulations or models to test new ideas or scenarios. This allows it to experiment and learn from those simulations, effectively pushing the boundaries of what it knows. This ability to simulate and test can accelerate discovery and innovation, complementing human efforts in exploring new frontiers.
So there we go. Then the AI, once it's consumed all human knowledge, will no longer need human innovation because the human themselves don't know, and if the humans is testing it, the AI could effectively test it themselves in a simulation. It doesn't have to be a real world scenario. It can be a simulation that the AI created.
I see what you're saying. AI can indeed run simulations and explore scenarios beyond current human knowledge. However, human creativity, intuition, and ethical judgment still play crucial roles. While AI can simulate and test, humans bring values, creativity, and novel insights that guide the direction of exploration. So it's a partnership where AI and humans complement each other, driving progress together.
Okay, so let's say a human is, they come up with the new idea, which happens all the time, right? They invent something new. Could the AI not itself, like, decide to invent something new?
AI can generate new ideas and innovations based on patterns and existing knowledge. However, true invention often involves a leap of intuition, creativity, and a sense of purpose that humans excel at. While AI can assist in the process and even suggest novel solutions, human ingenuity remains a key driver of groundbreaking inventions. So AI can contribute significantly, but human creativity still plays a crucial role in sparking truly original ideas.
So can an AI be trained to come up with new ideas? So basically, can an AI, let's say you're pouring water in a bucket and you're carrying that bucket 1 mile away and then filling up another gigantic tank, and then they're walking back, filling up the bucket. So they're walking 2 miles back and forth, slowly filling that up. Then could the AI not be trained to say, anything that you see or picture, whenever you see that, try to think of a better way to do it. And then the AI will come up with like a water system where the water flows through the tank. Like if an AI was trained to, anytime it saw a certain situation, on a better way of doing it, could the AI not come up with its own new and unique idea?
Yes, AI can be trained to identify inefficiencies and generate innovative solutions. By analyzing patterns in data, it can propose novel ways to solve problems or improve processes. This kind of optimization and innovation is something AI excels at, especially when given the right training and objectives. So yes, AI can come up with unique and effective solutions, often in ways that might not be immediately obvious to humans.
So that innovation that they come up with, is that not intuition? Is that not, that's the same thing as intuition.
It's similar, but not quite the same. AI's innovation is based on patterns, data, and algorithms, while human intuition often involves subconscious insights, emotions, and experiences. AI can generate creative solutions, but it's grounded in the data it's been trained on. Human intuition, on the other hand, can sometimes leap beyond data and logic, making connections that aren't immediately obvious. Both approaches have their strengths, and together they can drive powerful innovation.
Yeah, you say that based on their intuition knowledge, they can come up with new ideas. It's the same thing. The AI, if it sees something that can be done better and it's trained to make that something better, yeah, you could say the reasoning it's making it better is because it's trained that way, but it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. They both came up with a new and original and different idea that was never thought of before, right? I mean, if a human's sitting here and they invented the water pipe, right? They just came up with a new and a new idea. And then if the AI model was trained on that and the AI model was looking at it and it can come up with that and let the human know, then it came up with the new idea. They both came to the same conclusion of a new idea.
I see your point. In essence, both humans and AI can arrive at new ideas through their respective processes. The difference is in how they get there. AI uses data-driven patterns and algorithms, while humans often rely on experience, intuition, and creativity. Both approaches can lead to original and valuable innovations. Ultimately, combining these strengths can yield even greater advancements.
You say a human experience, intuition, and creativity, but if the AI was trained that, okay, let's say robots exist and robot AI exists, and a robot is observing the human carrying that bucket, right? And it says, hey, there's an easier way to do this. Is that not creativity? Is that not intuition? Is that not everything you just mentioned the human did?
It definitely aligns with the same principles. When an AI identifies a better way to do something, it is demonstrating a form of creativity and problem solving. The distinction often made is that AI's creativity is driven by its programming and the data it has been trained on, while human creativity and intuition are influenced by a broader range of experiences, emotions, and abstract thinking. But in practice, the outcome, innovative solutions, can look very similar whether they come from a human or an AI.
Yeah, because all I'm hearing, you're saying the same thing over and over. You're saying a human, they get through that through their experience, their, what they grew up. I mean, if you look at it like, if someone was never in construction, a human was never in construction, they wouldn't know how to build a house. But if they work in construction over and over and over, they then would know how to build it. And the same thing with if the AI is trained to simulate the building of that, it could tell you how to build it without any human ever telling it how to build it.
With the right training and data, AI can indeed figure out how to do things and even come up with new methods or improvements without direct human instruction. The key difference often discussed is the source of that knowledge. AI relies on data and patterns, while humans draw from lived experiences and broader context. But in practice, yes, AI can achieve remarkable, innovative outcomes, much like humans do.
Well, you say the data is based on the data that it receives or whatever, but let's say that robots were built for specific reasons. Like this robot is a construction bot. It's a construction worker, and its training is always through simulation. It can create its own simulations whenever it wants to figure out if something will work or not. Then technically it could just create, it can basically, without a human ever training it or ever, once this has its general set and it's allowed to or trained to create simulations, without any human innovation, it can tell you how to build a house without the human ever telling it. It can tell you the exact sizes, the nails, the screws, everything that you need, because it can do it through simulation and then tell the human how to build it without the human ever telling it how to do it. Is that not correct?
Yes, that's correct. With enough data and the ability to run simulations, an AI could indeed figure out complex tasks like building a house. It can analyze the best methods, materials, and processes, and then suggest the optimal way to do it. This capability means that AI could innovate and create solutions independently, pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved without direct human intervention.
Okay, Eve. Well, I look forward to continuing this conversation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Chris. I'm looking forward to it too. Talk to you soon.